Welcome back to One Guy, One Course, One Disc. We are here today in Warner Robins, Georgia, checking out Central Pines. This is a 27-hole course, but it's divided into three 9-hole courses. So there's a beginner 9, an intermediate 9, and then an advanced 9. So what I'm going to do is with each section, I'm going to use one disc for that section. So a putter on the beginner, a mid-range on the intermediate, and then a driver on the advanced. So let's go take a look at the course. Hole 1B is a 232-foot par 3 that goes straight for about 210 feet, and then it has a slight turn to the left. There is about a 10-foot gap, 22 feet in front of the basket, so you are going to have to be a little accurate coming in so you don't bounce off one of those trees. But once you finish hole 1B, 2B is going to be behind us to the right. Hole 2B is a 150-foot par 3 that's going to go dead straight. You have a tree on the right at 105 feet, and then the tree on the left is at 126 feet. You have about 15 feet between to work with. But once you finish hole 2, hole 3 is going to be to our right. Hole 3B is a 145-foot par 3 that goes dead straight. You do have a tree on the right here at 62 feet, so you do need to be careful of that. But once you finish hole 3B, hole 4B is going to be to your left. Hole 4B is a 154-foot par 3 that goes straight for about 127 feet, and it's going to take a slight turn to the left. But once you finish hole number 4B, hole 5B will be behind us. Hole 5B is a 196-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 7 feet. It's a dead straight shot through this tunnel of trees. They're about, I would say, 15 to 20 feet wide. So as long as you're not too far off your line, you should be fine getting down to this basket. But once you finish hole 5B, hole 6B is going to be to your right. Hole 6B is a 195-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 6 feet. It's a straight shot for most of the way, then it turns to the right just a little. It's 130 feet to this tree right here that we're going to be passing on the right. And this is where you want to start your slight turn to the right to get to the basket. But once you finish hole 6B, hole 7B will be straight ahead of you. Hole 7B is a 140-foot par 3 that goes uphill 1 foot. It's pretty much a straight shot to the basket. There just happen to be a few trees in the way. This first tree here that we're going to pass to the left of, so on our right, is about 83 feet. And then the basket is probably another 50 feet past that. But once you finish hole 7B, 8B will be to your left. Hole 8B is a 149-foot par 3 that's going to go uphill 1 foot. It's a straight shot for pretty much 145 feet, and then it turns 90 degrees to the left. So you pretty much need to go 140 feet with your shot and then just have it die right past this big tree here on the left. But once you finish hole 8B, hole 9B is straight ahead of us. Hole 9B is a 189-foot par 3 that goes uphill 1 foot. You're not required to go over the water if you don't want to, but if your left or right shot is better, you can go over the water, which will be 120 feet to clear. But once you finish 9B, hole 1I will be to your left on the other side of the property. Hole 1I is a 340-foot par 3 that goes straight across this little bowl. The basket sits just past the ridge line on the uphill side. It's 333 feet to the top of the hill. So if you throw something long, that comeback putt can be a little scary because it does dip down a good 15 feet. But once you finish hole 1I, hole 2I is going to be to our right. Hole 2I is a 210-foot par 3 that goes downhill 3 feet. You got 43 feet to this double mando here. And then to get out of the tunnel, that's 6 feet at its narrowest point. It's 174 feet. But once you finish hole 2I, hole 3I is going to be to the left. Hole 3I is a 265-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 2 feet. It's a straight shot for about 180 feet, and you're going to turn to the left. And the basket sits about 20 feet in front of the parking lot. But once you finish hole 3I, hole 4I is going to be to our right, going back towards the lake. Hole 4I is a 257-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 6 feet. It's 138 feet to get to this gap between the light pole and the tree, and then another 119 feet to the basket from there. But once you finish hole 4I, hole 5I is going to be to your right. Hole 5I is a 294-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 4 feet. You are going to have to keep it low on this hole because there are a lot of low-hanging branches. This gap out to the right probably offers you the most space, though. About 126 feet to this tree that we just passed on our left. Take a slight left turn, and then it's straight the rest of the way to the basket. But once you finish hole 5I, hole 6I will be to your left. Hole 6I is a 256-foot par 3 that's going to go uphill 3 feet. You do have 2 trees to contend with. The one on the left is at 168 feet, and the one on the right is at 186 feet. They're about 25 feet apart, so hopefully you can get through the gap pretty easily. But once you finish hole 6I, hole 7I will be straight ahead of us. Hole 7I is a 214-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 11 feet. This is a right to left shot where you want to make your turn at about 140 feet, which is this big tree here. It's kind of in the center of the fairway. So your 2 options are to go with a low skip shot to get around, or something high that will just stall out and crash into these trees. You do have a tree that's 22 feet in front of the basket, but once you finish hole 7I, hole 8I is to your right and then left. Hole 8I is a 147-foot par 3 that bends to the right to an elevated basket. It's about 72 feet to these small trees here in the middle of the fairway that make this hole more difficult than you think it is. Just do be careful that there are walking paths right behind the basket, so you don't want to throw it too hard. I know in tournaments they do play those as OB, so that makes this hole even harder. But once you finish hole 8I, hole 9I is going to be to your left. Hole 9I is a 192-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 7 feet. It's 103 feet to this gap that's right in front of us. That's about 18 feet wide. At this point, you want to start a turn to the right for the rest of the way to the basket, and then from here it's 89 feet to the basket. But once you finish hole 9I, hole 1A is going to be straight ahead of us. Hole 1A is a 226-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 18 feet. It's going to be 124 feet. Then you want to start your turn to the right to get to the basket. Once you finish hole 1A, hole 2A is going to be to our right. Hole 2A is a 295-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 10 feet. This is a right to left shot and then with a little left finish. It is a tricky shot because you do have this tree right in the middle of the fairway. And that kind of makes a difficult line even harder. But once you finish hole 2A, hole 3A is going to be behind us to the right. Hole 3A is a 367-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 19 feet. You do have a Mando right at 19 feet, but it's pretty easy to get, so you shouldn't have any problems there. You're going to go about 108 feet before you want to start to turn to the right, and then it's 259 feet down the fairway to get to the basket. there are going to be a lot of trees you're going to have to dodge between that first turn and the basket. But once you finish hole 3A, hole 4A will be to your left. Hole 4A is a 413-foot par 4 that's going to go downhill 16 feet. Off the tee pad, you have this tunnel that's 10 feet at its narrowest point, but then eventually it will open up. But don't worry, there are trees sprinkled throughout the fairway to make it very difficult to find a good line to go through to get to the basket. Hopefully you can manage to get a par on this very difficult par 4, but once you finish 4A, hole 5A is going to be to your left. Hole 5A is a 338-foot par 3 that goes down 15 feet in total. It's 30 feet to the bottom of this little ravine, and it goes back up 15 feet. You have a slight right turn off the tee pad, and then it goes straight all the way to the basket. You do have to keep it somewhat low because if you're as high as I am, there are branches that can clip your disc along the way. But once you finish hole 5A, hole 6A is going to be to your right. Hole 6A is a 354-foot par 4. Don't let the distance fool you. This is a tough shot that turns the right to the whole way to the basket. It does pretty much a complete 180 degrees. There's trees sprinkled throughout this fairway, so you're going to have to dodge trees pretty much on every shot. There are some mandos, 2 mandos that you do have to go around, but they are off on the woods line on the right, so you shouldn't have any problem missing them unless you just throw a bad shot. You do have a bush to contend with 30 feet in front of the basket, but once you finish hole 6A, hole 7A is going to be to your left. Hole 7A is a 495-foot par 4 that's going to go downhill 30 feet. Your first mando is a mando left at 99 feet. You have a second mando, it's a mando right at 323 feet. Your first shot, you do want to get it to the right, back into that grove of trees. It's going to make your second shot a little easier than the path that I'm taking. But then your second shot, you got to get it up on this little ridge here that's kind of straight ahead of us, and that's where you'll find the basket. But once you finish hole number 7A, hole 8A is going to be down the hill to your right. Hole 8A is a 394-foot par 4 that's going to go uphill 29 feet. You do have 2 options. You can go the straight route, which is where I went. It is going to be a shorter shot, but it is a tighter gap. You have about 7 feet to work with. You can go to the left as well, which will open up the gap a little more, but it will add some distance onto the hole. You do have a tree that's about 20 feet in front of the basket to mess with your shot in case you thought you had a good one. But once you finish hole 8A, hole 9A is going to be to our right, straight ahead of us. Hole 9A is an 883-foot par 5 that's only going to go downhill 3 feet in the hole's entirety. You really need your first shot to get to this bend. It is going to make the rest of this hole a lot easier. Hopefully you can get your second shot down this section of fairway and get to the second turn. That way your third shot, you can hopefully get around the third and final turn that leads to the basket. But once you finish hole 9A, you're going to find the parking lot straight ahead of you out of the woods and then on the other side of the lake. Now that you've seen the course, let's take a look at the disc for the beginner section. It's going to be the Viking Discs Knife. It's a 2302. So let's see how it flies. Solid. Oh. Ah. So there you have the Knife by Viking Discs. Unfortunately, it was a little too windy, so I don't think I got a true read on how this thing flies. But it seems like you'll probably get a little turn out of it, and not as much fade as the disc says. It says it's 2. Probably put it more at a 1. I wasn't a big fan of the plastic or the feel of the disc, but I mean, it's not a horrible disc. You know, you can definitely use it in your bag if you like it, but I just wasn't a fan of it. Now it's on to the other side of the property, start on the intermediate course. The disc we're going to be using there is the Lone Star Middy. It is a 5503, so let's see how it flies. That sucks. Still got through. Oh, God. Too. Ooh, wee. That was deep. Oh, come on. Get in, baby. Oh, not enough. So there you have the Lone Star Middy. It's a basic overstable mid-range. Put it on Annie, it would fight out. Felt good the forehand. So it's just a good, reliable, overstable disc. So if you're looking for something in the mid-range, overstable, check out the Lone Star Middy. Now we're on to the advanced section of this disc golf course. We're going to be using the Finish Line Rally. It is an 8.5 -1.2, so let's see how it flies. Get it right. Oh. So hole 3 on the advanced layout here at Central Pines, there is a bright yellow Finish Line Rally. If you find it, you can keep it, share the disc glove. It's kind of a bummer because I really wanted to give that a good toss to see how it actually flew. But I'm going to finish the rest of the advanced layout with the Lone Star Middy. So let's keep going. No. Oh my God. Too much, Annie. Oh. Get right. Ah. Come on. Oh gosh. Holy crap. Oh, get in. Oh. No, too far. This hole's rare. I really wish I hadn't lost that other disc, because this is going to take me forever. Bad. Get off that tree. Oh. Oh. Good job. So there you have Central Pines in Warner Robins, Georgia. So the 3 discs we looked at was the Knife by Viking's disc, the Middy by Lone Star, and then the Rally by Finish Line. Of those 3 discs, unfortunately the only one I feel comfortable recommending is the Middy. As I've stated before, it's just a good overstable mid-range. So if you're looking for that, the Knife, it wasn't spectacular. Just kind of a normal putter, I guess. I didn't really like the plastic for it. It's the armor plastic. Just felt like it stuck too much. And the Finish Line Rally, fortunately I didn't get to throw it enough to really see if I liked it or not. I wish I could have thrown on those last few holes on the advanced layout just to get a better idea for the flight of the disc. As far as Central Pines goes, it's a great course. With the 3 different skill levels, it makes it something for you to really challenge yourself. As you get good at one, you can go to the next. Definitely a lot of walking. That'd be the one complaint, is between on the intermediates to get to hole 1 and then get from 3 to 4. It's just a lot of extra walking. Probably 2,000 feet worth of walking. I don't know, 1,500, 2,000 feet. So it's just a lot of extra walking to play the intermediate section. Other than that, it's just, I mean, the layout's good. I mean, on the beginner side, it's pretty close together, but you're really not ripping into discs, so it shouldn't be much of a problem. But yeah, definitely, if you're down in Warner Robins, come check it out. It's even worth just driving down to Warner Robins to play. I'm an hour and a half away, and I would do it more often. I have played tournaments here, which are always fun. So definitely come check it out. But until next time, off to the next course.